vengeance. In a world trembling under oppression and doubt, God raised voices of truth that no power could silence. From among ordinary men, God chose a servant of faith and power, a life that testified to unshaken love. The air in the hall was thick with whispers, but Stephen moved with a calm that cut through it all. He walked among the widows and the poor, his hands open, his voice steady as a lighthouse in a storm. He spoke of Jesus with a quiet, blazing power, and the crowd felt something rise inside them.
A piercing truth that warmed and unsettled at the same time.
He healed in Jesus' name and preached with a tenderness that softened the hard edges of life. Word spread, people gathered, hungry for a message that felt like light in the darkness.
Yet where there is light, there are shadows. Cruel shadows that hated the glow he carried.
Brothers and sisters, look around you. The Lord has shown us favor this day. Rejoice in his name. Stephen's life became a threat not because he shouted, but because his wisdom and the spirit within him burned with undeniable clarity.
The religious leaders saw their grip slipping as more and more people followed him.
It is blasphemy. We must act now.
The crowd grows restless.
Fresh dates. Get your fresh dates.
They twisted his words, cried blasphemy where there was none, and hurled charges before the Sanhedrin to silence him forever.
Blasphemy, that bitter weapon of power, was the charge that could crush him under the weight of the land's might.
This audacity will not stand. He blasphemes against the Most High.
In the Sanhedrin, Stephen stood tall, not with bravado, but with a fearless honesty that unsettled the room. He spoke not as a conquered man pleading for mercy, but as a living witness, a man unafraid to name truth.
Guilty of an affront to the temple.
He must be stopped before the Passover.
He traced the history of his people, pointing to their ancestors who rejected God's messengers time and again.
Then, stone by stone, reminded them that they too had rejected and murdered Jesus, the promised Messiah.
He defiles the temple! He must die! The crowd burned with rage. Fury crawled over their faces, jaws clenched.
Stephen's challenge to the Sanhedrin was blunt and dangerous. He spoke with a wisdom and spirit-led audacity that threatened the foundations of their power. Yet even as the shadows lengthened, he stood unwavering, his face shining like an angel before them.
He refused to dress his testimony to please them. He spoke truth as it was, knowing it might cost him everything.
They saw in him a man who would not bow, and they branded his boldness as blasphemy.
When the charges were finally spoken, Stephen did not plead or recant. He stood in extraordinary truth.
He blasphemes against Moses.
He speaks against the holy place and the law.
This man must be silenced.
He reminded the council of their history. Joseph, Moses, the prophets overlooked and rejected.
Then he laid the weight of guilt.
Stephen declared that the heavens opened and the Son of Man stood at the right hand of God, truth like lightning cleaving the room.
The Most High does not live in temples built by human hands.
He blasphemes! Stone him!
This wasn't merely disagreement. It was a rupture of authority, a sanctuary of lies burned by the fire of truth.
Blasphemer!
How dare he speak against Moses?
Drag him out of the city!
They rushed him, dragging him beyond the city. Rage like a flood. Fear, power, and pride carried them outside the gates.
They covered their ears, screaming to drown the truth, then dragged him outside and began to stone him, cruel hands driven by fear and pride.
The first stone struck, and yet his face shone like an angel's.
Stephen looked up and saw the glory of God, and Jesus standing at the right hand of the Father. He faced the crowd and the truth, refusing to compromise. His faith stood unshaken, burning with love even in the dark. He did not curse his accusers, but prayed for them. Lord, do not hold this sin against them. And with that prayer, he fell asleep, not in defeat, but in peace, his spirit carried into eternal glory.
And as the morning broke, Stephen slept, the first martyr of the new way. Grant him eternal rest, O Lord.
Those who watched were struck silent, a holy fear resting upon them. They had seen love stronger than death.
Faith for Stephen was more than creed. It became life poured out. A light carried on by all who witnessed his courage.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want.
His faith became a seed, planted in hearts, watered by tears, and destined to bloom in courage for generations. The heavens received him, and angels rejoiced, the first of many who would bear witness through love.
True faith does not falter in fear. It burns bright in trial, living on in every heart that chooses truth over comfort.
Stephen, the first martyr, a light that cannot be extinguished. Morning came over Jerusalem, and the earth was quiet. Yet heaven still sang of the faith that would never die.
From that hill, the light spread over deserts, mountains, and seas, a living witness that no stone could silence. The same spirit that filled Stephen moved through every generation, hands carrying the light of truth to those in darkness.
Through persecution and peace alike, the cross still stands.
The light moved to the nations, to every desert and shore, until the earth itself shone with the glory of Christ. From Jerusalem to the ends of the earth, ABN carries the light of truth, faith, and hope to all nations.
The mission continues through you. Every prayer, every gift, every heart that stands with ABN.
Join hands with ABN. Pray, give, and shine the light of truth to every nation.